Hello, Scapers, and welcome to our latest live stream. Thank you very much for joining us. Hope you've all been well out there. We've been pretty busy here at Jagex HQ. We kind of scrambled together and jumped on this, so it'll be another one of our scrappy streams, I'm guessing. But we've got plenty of you to talk to you about, and we wanted to make sure we got out in front of all of you and said hello. So today we got a couple of our RuneScape leadership team here to look at some of your questions that you've asked us across Reddit, Twitter, Facebook, and Discord, as well as to just give you some updates on everything that's going on here at the studio. So without further ado, please welcome Mod Liam.
Hey.
And Mod Warden.
Hey, Scapers.
All right, everybody. So, obviously, we talked about a bunch of things going on here at the studio, not least of which has been the Login Lockout, which continues to be the majority of our attention here between the team. Mod Warden, what's the latest? What can you tell people about what's been going on this week and recently?
Yeah, so, main focus is getting everybody in game. Today, we released our largest batch to date. This is actually taking us up to around the 70% mark of players back in game. We'll have another good batch tomorrow, and the remaining batch will be Friday. That's the plan. Sometimes it doesn't always go back to plan, but by week's end, we should have just about everybody back in the game. Likely there'll be a couple stragglers here and there, but let's call it 99%, and then. And now it's about aftercare, right? And making sure that players have a good path into our support. Teams all ready for any folks that need the extra help and extra support and so on. The other kind of key piece is we've been delivering the care packages as well to players already, and making sure that all those pieces are there as well. And yeah, so that's the latest.
So obviously, like you said today, we got up to 70% roughly of people being back into game. So by the end of the week, we hope to have almost everyone involved in, and then anyone left over would be, with very small numbers, kind of more specific work, right? We're talking pretty much as close as we can get this week, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So
right.
if you're out there waiting,
try to get almost everyone back into game. Like I said, there's probably a couple stragglers here and there that will need some attention, but other than that, it should be there.
Yeah, so if you are out there waiting, thanks for bearing with us. The team are rolling through the processing of this and the testing and all the various bits of work that go into doing this as best we can, as quickly as we can. And hopefully this week is going to be, a big moment for many of you as you come back to the game. And like Mulwan said, please don't forget about the aftercare. If you log in and anything isn't right, or anything you just aren't sure on, submit a ticket. It's always better to submit a ticket, and we'll see what we can do. Okay, so speaking of which,
one other little bit on care package the delivery. So like we batch process these things, and as we get a wave of people in, we get the care packages added. Might be some delays there. Just give us a little time, but they're getting delivered. We're pretty confident about that.
Yeah, and there's another thing for those of you talking about emails. I saw a couple of people saying, "It'd be nice to have an email." We've tried to make sure that everyone gets an email. We're aware of these reports. The best thing we can recommend is it's always worth just logging in and checking every time we do a wave announcement. A lot of the cases we've seen have actually just been email systems, etc., not accepting emails, and that when we've investigated reports, emails have gone out. So if you aren't getting emails, it could be us, it could be you, but whatever the case, we always recommend after every wave just check in. I know it's a bit frustrating and not the ideal answer, but it is the best way to make sure to see if you can log in again. All right, let's talk about. So obviously we talked about doing right by players. We've got this this initial box that we've done, the restoration pack that's got all this various bits and stuff in. We have Awesome April ahead, where we've kind of looked at a lot of the things that players said they wanted to see and make gains on. We've seen some feedback around Iron Man, etc. Is that something we're talking about and thinking about? I know we've talked about it a lot, so it's a bit of a hosty question, but
yeah, for sure. Like a few weeks ago when we started talking about some of the compensation, our strategy around that was, it's like we need a baseline. The baseline is going to help address most of the issues, and we tried to be really mindful with that. Looking at free-to-play players, looking at Ironman players, looking at the subscribers, Premier Club, all the different boxes, right? We had a lot of upset players around that are Ironman players that we weren't doing enough there. Like to be very open-minded about that still, and that I think there's opportunities for us to do more with that. I actually, this is going to be a little bit of a call out for your support on this. I'd like to hear what you value most. One of the themes that I saw and what Huli and I talk about quite a bit is, there is this gap of time that you missed, and that is like, I don't have a time machine, unfortunately, to kind of roll it back, but I don't want to ignore the requests there that we could do more. So I'd like to kind of get you all coordinating and give us some more feedback on that, and I think there's more we can do in that area.
Cool. So yeah, obviously, with the lockout going on, we've also got the wishes coming up, and that's going to be another opportunity for us to kind of take on some of that feedback and address it in a cool way. And I know Modlium, the Ninja team, are helping work with that, among others, right? Is that right?
Yeah, totally. So ninjas are helping out with a lot of the stuff that's going on during April. We don't usually talk about what the ninjas work on explicitly because they're ninjas, but this feels a bit different. So we're looking at different weeks throughout April where we're going to be releasing a sort of mini event or some content that will help locked out players catch up, basically. And yeah, part of that is this wishes concept, which can't get into too much right now, but basically the mechanic will be that you've been locked out, or there's these aftercare issues that we're talking about where we've restored the majority of stuff you've lost, but there are these little sort of artifacts around the edges that things like, it might be invention components or perks or things like this that we might not be able to sort of grant back. We've got this sort of wish concept that hopes to deal with those sort of aftercare issues. So we're building out a design. We're also, if you have an aftercare issue, please do get in contact with player support, because we'll be using data from them as well to figure out, what kind of wishes do people really, really want, or will really, really need as part of this. So yeah, that's what
please only use that
on.
form. Sorry, just to jump in before anyone uses it. Please only use that form if you need it, though. Yeah. Don't use it as a feedback form for this. We're just going to take inspiration from that too, as always. That's okay. It's good. It's good that people know that we're going to be taking a look at that as well. But please don't use that as a direct feedback form, because it will do nothing but slow everything down, and that won't be great. So, cool. And so I guess, as the team looks at all this sort of stuff, we're also talking about a lot of other stuff that's going on at the studio, right? We've started to kind of be able to shift a little bit from the Login Lockout. I know very much our attention is still fully on it. A lot of reasons and the things you want to hear about to you at home, I can say, are just from the fact that a lot of people's attention and time are talking about the Login Lockout. But we do have other things that we're starting to think about. We have a year of content planned ahead that we have to start moving back towards, and with everyone mostly being back in by the end of this week, I think it's probably time to start talking about that. So I'll come to you first, Mod Warden. Do you want to remind people, what are the big themes of this year? What are the big things we're working on? Like, what are the things to look forward to most as a player this year?
Well, this is the year of Elder God War Dungeon, right? And a large part of our year's content strategy will be involved in that theme. We know players love questing, they love skilling, they love PVM, or bossing, right? Like, these are all different areas that we can connect in some way into Elder God War Dungeon. And I think that's pretty important. We like storytelling. We like a good story arc. This is, I think the team's come up with a really great way of building that into our content strategy. So there's that piece. We've got our mobile release as well this year. Chatted about this a few times. We're dropping new releases on mobile. Modlium, we'll chat with you more a little bit about that. We continue our ninja strategy throughout the year. Modlium said that they're ninjas, and we don't say a whole lot. It's surprising and delighting is kind of like the way we like to deal with that in some way. We've are building out more robust live events, Halloween's, Christmases. We just got our Easter event, and that looked completely gorgeous. Those are the kind of big areas. We're going to continue improving our game clients, bringing more tech into modernizing the game. That's really key. The avatar refresh is really important to us. We know it's important to you as well. Those are big standouts for me.
Yeah, and also with the refresh, I'm sure for many of you, as our full attention kind of turned to the Login Lockout, we've kind of had to put our all into doing what we can there. But the player avatar refresh is definitely something we want to get in front of you again. We definitely want to continue that conversation, and so hopefully, as we start to now be able to strike a bit more of a balance, with the, I said most, and some people would notice I said most. As we talked about, we're looking at hopefully by the end of the week around 99%, if not a bit more than that, being back in game from the impacted accounts. But as that starts to get to become a bit more of a reality, and we're just focusing on aftercare more, we're hoping to start that stuff again. So don't worry, things like Player Avatar, that we know you love those streams. We know you love your Iroh and you want more of him and the rest of that team and their work. That will be coming as well.
What's
so I'm going to go
super awesome about that one, Huli, in particular, right? It's like I get to see all the work in progress work, all of the player kits that we're working on. It looks fantastic. Like all the feedback that we receive from players and the continued iteration on it. Our team are really trying to put some great perfection into that work, and it's come along really nice. Can't wait to show more.
Me too. So I'm going to come to you, Mod Liam, because Mod Warner mentioned it. Mobile, we've aimed for. We've been working on it for quite some time, and we said, this is the year of mobile. This is the year we're going to make it happen. And we kind of laid out in Mod One's message, I think, in December, a little bit about what we're trying to do before we get there. How's it going? How's the mobile project going? What's the focus been? What's the latest from the team?
Yeah, it's going really well at the minute, actually. Obviously, the focus for the teams is mainly around preparing for this big launch date, making sure that we're although people have been playing it for a long time, that's mostly people that know us. When we sort of go big with it, when we fully release it, we're looking at getting lots of new players in, lots of people that may never even have experienced RuneScape before. So we're doing a lot of work around that sort of first time experience for the player and just tightening up how that works, making things as pleasant as possible and awesome as possible, so that we have an excellent experience for players when they first join in, and they become long-time scapers, and we grow the game in a different platform again. So that is mostly what we've been doing. You've probably sort of seen a few of these improvements knocking around in the UI and things like that. I know there was a sort of slight change we made way back in Feb that also monkeyed about with the desktop version of the login screen, which was an oversight on our part, so apologies for that. But we've recently done another little update which reverted all of that, so that's good too. So yeah, you'll basically be seeing us putting out these nice little streamlining updates and making things a whole lot more understandable for new players that are coming in, because RuneScape's a huge complex game, and people that move from knowing the desktop version to, they're not different versions, they're just different clients. People that use the UI on desktop and move over to mobile, they have a little bit of sort of work in getting to know it. So for a new player, you can imagine there's a bit of a challenge there, but we've made a lot of good headway into making it understandable and making it a playable and enjoyable experience.
Yeah, and Mod Warner, is there anything you want to add to that as well? Because I know obviously we were talking at one point that mobile, we're looking at 2020, and then we talked in that message about the reasons for 2021. Is there anything you want to add there about kind of platform launches for us and the importance of getting it right?
Well, I think making the game client more readable, right, was really huge. We've got some nice new tech. The tech's in the client already. We haven't revealed it and put it in place for it yet. So I think that's going to be really important. Near and dear to my heart. Near and dear to many other folks as well that have difficulties reading the game client. Part of it is also the interaction design, making it more mobile-like and more mobile supported. That is really key. Making it, it's more responsive, more stable. These are all the kind of key blocks. Looking at even how we did pathfinding and making that more functional. That was a big leap. Just trying to address more of the polish, that funnel, that new user experience that Modulium had mentioned as well. A lot of effort goes into that. Tutorial, so on, right? Like these are all kind of key areas that plenty of opportunity for us to improve on there.
And also, so just finally, just before we get to everyone's questions, because Modwana, I know you touched on it earlier, and I think Modulium can probably talk to us a little bit more on this one. Just keep you roped in. So we talked about having a variety of content, like all these different things. Is there anything on the horizon that maybe you want to tease or hint or give a little kind of indication to the people at home about that we're working on?
Tease? Wow, what could be coming up? Yeah, I mean, if you're a long-time player, you know that we're coming up to a double XP weekend, and I guess I can reveal, the big reveal is that we've got something to sort of go alongside it that will be very complimentary and that you will enjoy very much. And that's as much as I'm going to say.
That was actually a very good tease. I was very worried about that. That's good.
It's only a good tease if it works on you as well, Huli.
Yeah. I remember that. And then Mudwarner as well. I know that you had a little something in your pocket around Elder God Wars. Is that true?
Yeah, the next chapter in that story arc is going to be revealed in April, we're in April later this month. That'll be in your hands. I think that will be pretty key.
Yeah, we're we're trying to. We want to give you little hints of things that are coming, but we also want to surprise and delight you as well, reveal things close to the time when they're 100% locked as well. So stay tuned. The Elder God will continue this month. Now we're going to get to your questions. But I think on the subject of content, one of the questions that I've seen in the chat and also in the community, we talked about like mostly everyone should be back in by the end of the week. It should all go well with the kind of impacted accounts being returned. When does that mean we'll see Rex Matriarchs?
Yeah, right now it's April 19th. That's the plan. So it gives a nice little gap in people in the game, and we got a week buffer so people can kind of suss the layout and land and then get our content back on track.
So 3 dinos, 3 release dates at this point, but it's coming. We've all been waiting anxiously for it, but thank you for being patient with us and for guiding us down when we release it. But yeah, we should be the 19th, which is super exciting. I know I'm hella excited to get involved in that. Another big topic in the community, I think, we're no strangers to talking about as of late, which is the Elite Dungeons exploit. For those of you who haven't seen, we announced, I think it was just before the Login Lockout, that it's something we want to work on. Is there anything you can both say on that in terms of what work's been done, how are things going?
Yeah, so a lot of work's been going on actually. It's Login Lockout has not affected the pace of work on this. It's just the sort of effort required to properly take care of this bug and actually make sure it never happens again has been 3-4 weeks worth of work, and that's been undertaken by, I've forgotten the mod name. I never call people by mod names. So that's right. Moderayan. Yeah, I always forget them, sorry. He's been working busy as a beaver fixing it, and I can confirm that it is currently in our release team with being tested by them, and will be coming out on Monday. So there will be an end to that particular situation. So yeah,
And
it's been a long time coming, but this has involved significant rewrites to that sort of reward code. So it's not been a simple fix, but we're there.
Yeah, and obviously, like you said, it takes a pretty significant amount of work, and I know a lot of that, talking to them as well, was investigation and working out how do you prevent this across all scenarios, all elite dungeons. So no small potatoes, but obviously we're going to have that coming. I'm sure Mod Warden and some people are going to ask, what's our plan with punishments? I know we've already announced some small details on that. That's not something we're quite ready to confirm just yet, right?
Yeah, the focus has been on the big issue. This is another big issue for us as well, and we'll move our attention on that, and we'll have to get back to you on that one. It just wouldn't be right to take away the focus of the bigger issue at the moment.
Yeah, I think, like, speaking personally, especially on the community side, I can't stress how much attention the Login Lockout has taken. So please bear with us as our answers are a little bit less kind of certain than they usually would be. For a lot of us, it's just a case of everyone's attention has been put in that first, and
everybody's
it takes a lot of attention.
Down, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So
and also, like, when we start looking past the aftercare piece, we want to do a proper retrospective and post-mortem. I'd like to get that in front of the players as well.
Yeah,
I think
sure.
it'll be a very, very interesting story. It's a big chapter in our history, and we don't want it to happen again. And it would be right to tell players what we're going to do about that, or what we've already put in place and continue to improve as well.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that as well. So client crashes, is there any updates on that? Is that something we're actively working on?
Client crashes, yeah, I mean, all the time. We're sort of working on these live issues. A lot of the game platform team that will be fixing these bugs are also working on the Login Lockout as well, though. So the rate of fixes has kind of slowed down a little bit, but we've got plans to basically burn through those bugs in the next couple of months. So yeah, we will be addressing that totally.
Yeah, because something that some of you may or may not remember is we're actually hot fixing the week the Login Lockout actually occurred to try and address those crashes quickly, following assigning some people to it, and then the Login Lockout occurred. So just know it's top of mind. It's something that we see you mention all the time, and it's something that from a feedback perspective and the team's perspective, as soon as the Login Lockout's in a better place, it's still very much there, just like the Elite Dungeons issue was. So this is an interesting question about production. So obviously, we kind of pushed a lot of our moved our content plans around to accommodate the fact that we knew players couldn't play. The feedback we saw obviously with the Rex Matriarchs meant that was included too. With the changes to that release content kind of plans, has this given any upcoming content more time for, say, stretch goals, or have we just been stacking content up? Like, what's the development impact been?
Development impact, let's see. So one of the things that we heard from players, is while we were waiting to get players back in game, is to delay some of the release. So we've done that. We've gotten a little creative on not kind of bunching it and making sure some good spacing and that it's in theme and so on. Like even taking on some of the stretch goals to make April more awesome. And bringing out things like the skilling week and combat week and so on. Some of those are already stretch goals. I would say, like, from the back end, is that we have a release plan. We have gosh, I don't even say the word cadence, but we have a rhythm for the releases, and you need ample time to make people aware of the content coming and that it's in a particular sequence. I would probably say that we're still plan overall, if that's the best way of saying it. No kind of big significant changes, really. I feel pretty good about, just as excited as I was at the beginning of the year, going into this year. And occasionally somebody will come up with a really great idea, or they might have been toying around with another project and idea and like to bring that in some way. But there's not many games out there. I don't really know of another game that really puts out these level of releases every Monday. I'm really proud that the team can do that. It's a little complicated at times, and the juggle gets a little harder. And you kind of have to absorb, a hot issue of the moment, whether it's an elite dungeon exploit, or the login lockout issue, or even just some days, gosh, I love to just be dealing with a client crash that we're trying to hot fix on it, and then some normalcy to it. And then overall, like we have a very stable service. Is the other thing I think is super cool about RuneScape. We don't have a lot of big issues frequently. Like, we got hot moments and community moments and that sort of thing too. But overall, the service is, we're 20 years in, and it's really stable. It takes a lot of hard work for it to be that. It doesn't come easy to us. But yeah.
Cool. And yeah, I think another thing as well with the releases we've got lined up and everything is, some people were asking, I just saw in chat, wait, Combat Week takes development time? And for those of you wondering about that, that's actually because we're actually adding new things to what we already had in January, right, Liam? It's actually new things that allowed us to tune dials or turn certain things on that didn't exist before, right?
Yeah, there's a few extra features, and it's never just a case of copy and paste, or or in the case of RuneScape, whack a toggle. It's always a little bit more effort involved in that. So yeah, look forward to it. It's going to be worth it.
Yeah, we don't have easy switches just to turn on and off things. We still takes bits and bobs of code. We still got to put it through a release testing process. We still got to QA it. We still have checks and balances along the way, and that's, I think, part of the reason why we can do a fairly regular Monday release and have a fairly regular service that is pretty stable.
Yeah, I also want to touch on, I saw some people being like, oh, when will we see details on each of these events? Soon. We want to get to it. It's something that we'll make sure that Skilling Week we let you know about in advance, so we'll talk about that a little bit this week at least. But we're working on that on the community side, and we'll hopefully be able to share something that's just on us, kind of spreading ourselves pretty thin to make sure we're trying to support you as best as we can and also pulling this out. So apologies. Some people are asking as well, is today's wave over, or do more players get access over time? The way waves work is that essentially we go through a processing where all the data is being processed onto the live servers. The profiles all get updated. That takes a significant amount of time. And then once that's ready, we kind of do a mass unlock of any accounts that were involved in that wave, and your access is given to you instantly. So whenever you see us announce that a wave rollout has happened, it's almost always instantaneous. There's not any kind of delay in that process. So when we communicate to you, hey, go check your account and that a wave has happened, it's ready to be checked. So don't worry that you need to recheck throughout the day. And like I said, stay tuned for more waves tomorrow and Friday. Okay, question here. We get this question quite often, and I think for good reason. Is there any kind of areas or kind of content that's going under graphical rework right now? How much is that a focus in our current plans for the team?
So yeah, I mean, updating areas in the game has always been tricky and a challenge for us, just because we want to be putting out new content as well as sort of spending time going over the and sprucing up older stuff. I think one of the really good examples of where we did this is actually archaeology. We had a huge skill, lots of effort being put into it in terms of new content, but then we looked at areas like the dig site and really brought those up to modern day standards, and that kind of thing works really, really well. So I think it's about just choosing the right updates in the future, thinking about where we can sort of set them or host them, so that we can also use a little bit of that, just to get dry and technical, that sort of person budget and effort budget into sprucing up an area that really could do with it, rather than just sort of doing an area rework for its own sake, because that's not going to have as much impact with people. Because great, we update Uglog or something like that, but actually there's not a huge call for players to return to that area and really enjoy it. So we'd always want to package it up with some meaningful content as well. So we do look at those opportunities.
Yeah, no, a lot of people were fans of the new trees.
About this from players. Yeah, what favorite areas do you think there would be really great value in refreshing and or even reworking a little bit? I think about two areas in particular, especially when we have a lot of new players coming in the game, and I think about Lumbridge a lot. I think about Berthorpe a lot. I think these are good starting areas to try and address in some way. I'd like to bring Modero back on, and he can probably share a lot of perspective. When you bring a new art director, a new art resource into the team, you got to give them some time to kind of learn a lot about RuneScape. And I know he's got a lot of areas that he's thinking about, things that are really like sore eyes and so on. This is why we also picked up the avatar refresh, because it's such a central part to everything that you do in the game. And we're going to kind of continue doing more even with the avatar refresh. Right now it's about upresing things, right? But there's a player model, a complete player model that can be addressed, and the rigging that is tied to that. There's the facial animations. There's so much more we can do in this area. But I'll bring him back on and he can share some of his initial thoughts. It's been with us super long, but yeah, he can share a lot of thoughts on it.
Yeah, I think something as well that we've really enjoyed throughout this process is one of those projects where we can actually talk to you about it at an early stage. It's the kind of project where we can bring you in, and it's been really fun to involve you all and see your feedback and bring that feedback to the team. And I know the team have really enjoyed it, and we've appreciated everything you've done so far. So I think that team is going to be more than excited to get out in front of you and show you what we've been working on since our last stream in February. And I know you all are big fans of it, so hopefully we can do a bit more of that. Okay, we've got a question here. Will Yak Tracks ever get a re-release, like a rerun? Is that something we're thinking about?
Not something we've specifically thought about, no. There you go. That was a pretty short answer. It's an interesting idea, and I think probably something worth thinking about as to the motivation behind rerunning these is pretty much obvious. If you sort of got all the way or most of the way there, or if you just didn't have an opportunity to play it, that's going to be quite a nice one. I think something like that could work. I think maybe a medley Yak Track one time, where it's just like a fusion of all previous Yak Tracks, so that everyone's got a chance to try and go after the track rewards that they missed out on. That could be a goer. Certainly something worth talking about, but no firm plans in the pipeline right now.
Okay, got a question here. So obviously for Easter this year, we took kind of one of the kind of hub event approaches with a communal aspect to it. Community, by the way, you smashed that goal of the butterfly goal so quickly. It was unbelievable. There was a question here about why not a mini quest though? Is that something we think we'd do next time? Do we think we'd instead build on this? What was kind of thinking about going down this route with the spring event?
Yeah, so I think we've been looking at a new way of doing holiday events, just making something that isn't just reusable, That's not what we're going for. We want something that's sort of expandable with every single year, so that each year there will be a new layer on the Easter event. And so a mini quest didn't really seem to fit with that, and we wanted to put all of our sort of time and effort into making this sort of germ, this little seed of an Easter event that can just grow out and become amazingly
how
awesome
about this?
over
We
years.
didn't want to put all of our eggs into one basket.
Oh God!
Oh boy, I'm so
Production,
horrible.
cut the stream, please.
That's terrible.
I've been on a roll today.
Sorry, were you mid-answer still, Mod Liam? I just completely lost my soul in that somehow.
No, my mind's just gone blank.
Left my body. I appreciate a good dad pun, trust me. No, do not apologize. I just got so upset by it. Okay, so, one other thing I should actually mention, I meant to talk about in the last one with the Yak Tracks. If you are interested in that Yak Track rerun because you missed opportunities to get things, we do add them to the Oddment store eventually, or we have been at least so far. So you might be able to hang on and see if you can at least kind of pick up anything you missed once enough time's passed and you can grab from the Oddment store. There's a lot of questions in this list. Sorry, I'm trying to go through here. So we were asking about.
When I saw through chat. Sorry, I don't know if it's on your list. We get asked about clans a lot. We think about it a lot too. I think there's a lot of kind of things that we can kind of group up together. Somebody mentioned here 10-year anniversary in a few years, right? Yeah, I'd like to spend a good series of releases addressing clans. So stay tuned. Don't know how soon that would be away, but we'd like to do something more with that.
I want to touch on something that we also see in chat. 197. We talked about this last time we were on stream as a group, if I remember correctly. It's just something that the engineering team are all focused on, the Login Lockout, and we've just not had a chance to properly catch up on that. It is on our list to talk about. Hopefully next time we're on camera, we'll get you an answer to that. Apologies that we haven't been able to put one together just yet, but just know it's on our radar. We're aware of it. We know you really want it back. We know for some of the clans out there, but also groups of friends and stuff, that's your home server and you'd love to see it back. So just so you know, it is on our radar. I don't really think we're ignoring it. Some couple of things I want to. There's some login lockout questions that we want to go to and mix in here as well. Modern Warden, obviously one of the questions people have is, okay, we had this what we called a once in a lifetime, of RuneScape incident. What's to say this won't happen again? Have we done anything to prevent this? What's the status on that?
Well, over the last month, we addressed, while we're working on the issue, there's a bunch of things we did put in place, everything from monitoring, some new capabilities I didn't have before. We do have spaghetti code in the game, right? A game that's been running for 20 years has spaghetti code. And because we've had, a lot of new engineers in the team over the last couple of years, they now have had some eyes, and because of this event in certain areas, we're going to go from here to the post-mortem side of things, and we've got kind of parallel to everything that we're doing. There's notes that are being written on things that are going to spin up, addressing how to prevent these kinds of issues, where we're going to invest more in and so on to not let it happen again, or minimize that risk, as they say, right? We can't act on that massive list just yet, but it's being developed, and I think part of the postmortem posts that we're gonna kind of bring to the community, we'll talk to some of that.
Awesome. Like I said, I keep being really excited to share that. I think the story of what's gone on behind the scenes, I think, will surprise people how much we've had to do to make a lot of this restoration possible as well. And a big shout out to, if any of the team are watching, just a big kudos to all the hard work you're doing, because it's been an intense 5-6 weeks at this point. So okay, another question on that as well. A lot of these we have already covered as well. So can we oh no, actually I think we've covered all of those. Actually, just checking. We talked about the Iron Man stuff and that we are going to have that conversation. We talked about the waves. Sorry, I'm just looking through our list of things on this. We've talked about the fact that content returns, or the next major content update is on the 19th. That's the accounts we have here. Sorry, I was just looking through a release. Like we said, we're doing this very live. So one thing I will talk about though is that we've got some people asking, servers, tick rates. Is there anything is that part of our game plan for this year? Is that something we're planning to think about in terms of optimizations or improvements in that area, or is that something that is going to have to follow some other kind of higher priority things?
We do have items in our roadmap that continually address performance. We have plenty of opportunities that should make an impact there. Little too soon to be able to talk to that yet, and especially we've got this massive thing happening in the background, so I can't really answer that properly at the moment. I'm sorry.
It's with us. Some people saying iOS, please. Well, that's part of our plans to release mobile this year. Chat, have you got any questions? We are kind of running near the end here, so we'd love to see any of your questions. We saw you asking about the change coming that was promised around the pages and the log stuff. We will let you know when that's coming. It is destined for a future Ninja Strike update. I believe that was postponed, wasn't it, due to the fact that we didn't want to release it in game without people back in? Am I wrong? Warden, Liam, do you know if that's the case? I'm trying to
that's the case.
Rattle my brain.
Sorry, I'm just looking at our super secret info places. But yeah, that was pretty much the case.
Yeah, it was because it would have implications, I believe, that we did it. But just know it's still on our radar. As soon as we can let you know something, we will. So people I see, when we see the 20-year veteran cape, well, you can't be a 20-year veteran until next year. So, I think Mod Osborne indicated we're probably going to do something for that. But, it's not something that's a this year thing. It's a next year thing because of how the tracking works.
Right.
The weird thing of having our 20th cape for accounts on the 21st birthday, but there you go. Sorry, I'm just trying to keep the chat.
The part 2 of the anniversary quest is in place, so yeah, we've got time.
Yeah, and if you're coming back to the game over the next few days, definitely go check that out. It's a lot of fun, and that series is just going to continue throughout the year. I love the theme that came up for that. I'm so spoiled as a quester this year, especially with the mini quests that we've had in As and Adras. I feel very spoiled as a huge quester on this team, making me work to keep my cape. Well, not with a mini quest, but. Someone was saying, can we extend Yak Track even further? Because it will be some time, another week before being able to log in for some of you since we last announced that. I guess that's something we can just consider, right?
Yeah, that's something we can just take under consideration and see how we can rectify that, whether or not it's extending it or something else. We don't know.
I saw some people also asking about, I just got back in the game this week in one of the waves. I don't have my extra month of membership. We should have resolved that today, I believe. So if you found that, go check now. And if not, feel free to reach out to Aftercare. But I believe we resolved that earlier today.
Yeah, absolutely. It won't happen exactly at the same time. We will be waiting for the account to be unlocked before we start the process of adding membership, because obviously if we add it too soon and you're not unlocked, you're wasting days of membership. So that's not all being done in one blanket action. That'll be done as unlocks happen as well, and slightly delayed after the unlock.
And that's also the same with the double daily keys as well. We only activate that when your account gets returned to game. So I know we kind of messed up on the comm side there. We wrote from April 6th, and it actually meant when you're back in from April 6th, we'll be activating those. So don't worry if you're not in right now and you think you've got double daily keys kind of bonus being ticked away and you're not getting your kind of full promised period on that. We do that when you go back in game, just a heads up. Any reveals on Raksha drop rates? It's been 5 months now. It's not a conversation I've had with the team. I guess we'll have to go back and talk about that, won't we?
We can
check the wiki.
Mod Liam's answer to everything.
Yeah, check the wiki. They're good. Got a lot of samples there.
Yeah. Someone was saying, when is the ED fix? We confirmed that for Monday, this Monday coming, right?
Yeah, that's going to be coming out on it's the 12th. It's the 12th, right? Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Cool. We've talked a little bit about, is there discussions about what more we're doing for people getting back in? So firstly, we're covering any membership from time you're away, and then we're also adding a month on that. And then we're also looking at what we can do to make these awesome April events as awesome as possible. We've also got the wishes that are going to really give us a lot of opportunity. I think something actually that might help is I saw some people asking, like, what does a wish even mean in terms of, like, what would that be? Just to be clear, it will be like predetermined selections. It will not be like you type in a text box and you get whatever you want in game. God help anyone who would have to code that in a game as complex and huge as RuneScape. But they are inspired. The options will be inspired by things that you said you want to be, and I think it would be safe to say that we want these wishes to be really cool choices that you're almost conflicted between. They're meant to be pretty meaty and impactful, and not kind of small potatoes. So hopefully we do that. I think that's fair to say, Warden and Liam. If we're making wishes, we're trying to make the wishes pretty substantial.
Definitely. Yeah, make it wishy. Yeah.
And also, just to add one thing on that, I saw some people quite often asking on Reddit and Discord, is everyone getting wishes? Yes, but impacted players will get more wishes. We haven't confirmed what those number of wishes will be. This is still an active thing in development. I think, Liam, like, this is literally still being developed, designed, coded.
Yeah,
all that. We couldn't even talk about it today if we wanted to, could we?
No.
So cool. Do all players get a wish? Yes, but you'll get more if you're impacted. So everyone will get that. Could you explain the wishes? How do they work? Like we said, it's all being developed, but essentially you'll have a series of options that you can choose between that hopefully are all super compelling. And you're like, let's say you're a kind of any player, you're hopefully going to be going, oh God, which one do I pick? Because these are super awesome. Or how do I best spend these to get the things that matter most to me? It's meant to be a kind of a series of really big choices that kind of let you choose what's important to you and kind of give yourself a bonus of whatever that is. So it's so sorry for the vagueness. It very much is in development and something that we don't have to talk about right now. Though I can confirm, unless Liam Warden, you give me a clip over the ear for that, they won't be tradable, which I just saw someone ask. So
no, they won't be tradable.
Yeah, no trading. No trading away.
I can imagine them being around in like 10 years' time, giving us a massive headache.
Mm-hmm. I think people, a bunch of Australian fans wouldn't let us get away with. Can we have Australian servers? Is that something we're thinking about? Is that something that's on our mind?
I'd say what is on my mind, just in general, understanding the player experience globally a lot more than I currently know. That's what would drive where we decide to put servers or where the next improvements will be focused on. I don't have a good answer about Australia or Brazil exactly at this moment. I do know that it matters to you, and when it matters to you, it matters to me as well. So I start there, but there's a lot to it. There's a lot of moving parts to it. It's how we engage with our platform teams and IT teams and so on. I unfortunately I can't spin up all the plates I like to at any given time. That's the tough part about having the job that I have, is there's just so much I want to do and I want to make everyone happy. But doing that also it breaks the backs of everyone behind the scenes in the wrong way sometimes. So I gotta pace it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
There's a comment here about clans. I'll follow up on as well. That when we're ready to talk about clans or gather requirements for it or kind of firm up our ideas around it, we'll definitely reach out to clan leaders. We've talked about that already. It's like, yeah, clan leaders got to be part of the journey with us. I think it's the same thing like we did with the Avatar, right? There are going to be certain initiatives that we're really going to want to bring you along for it. There's other ones that we're going to surprise and not tell you about. That's the way I like to do things, and clans stands out to me as something we'd want to bring players along on.
Yeah, I just want to add as well, I know Perky did a lot of kind of initial research with a bunch of people as well, and we have that as well, so that will definitely be with us as well when we look at anything. So if you were part of that or asked about your experience on that, that's something we have as well. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. We will hopefully have some news for you in the next couple of days on what Skilling Week will be, potentially even more beyond that. If you are involved in Login Lockout, thank you very much for bearing with us. We are getting close to the end of this process, at least from the returning accounts side of things. Like we said, the aftercare is a really important step. The team so far have been doing an incredible job at staying on top of things and replying as quickly as they can, and we're going to continue to do that as best we can going forward. So if you are in this, look out for news of our next wave tomorrow. We'll keep you as best informed as we can about when we expect that wave to be and all that sort of stuff that we'll be doing to the best of our ability. And same again for Friday. But otherwise, unless Maud, Warden, Maud Liam, there's anything you want to say, I think it might be time for us to sign off.
All good.
I'm good.
All right, well, in that case, thank you very much. We are going to make sure we have a bigger panel, Lee's Q&A sort of thing next month. So if you feel like there was anything we didn't cover today, sorry, we're doing our best to balance all the spinning plates that are going on right now. But we will be back next month with another Lee's Q&A, and we'll be back next week with a stream too. So until then, take care, see you soon, and I hope we'll see you all back in game by the end of the week. Take care.